Hi, my name is Julie. I'm going to tell you a story that happened when I was around 18 years old, in 2009. My two friends, Sandra and Evie, and I wanted to do something new that year. We thought about making prank calls or dressing up as Jason and scaring people. But then, Sandra told us an urban legend. She said that, in a cemetery near our city, every dawn an animal with a human body appeared. Sandra suggested we go there. Evie said that those things don't exist and that it was silly to go there for nothing, since it was a few kilometers away. I replied that the cemetery had been abandoned for a while and that it wasn't a good idea for us to go there. What if someone called the police? Sandra called us scared and said we were scared of a legend, that's why we didn't want to go. After arguing for a few minutes, Evie and I agreed to go only if my older brother would drive us in my dad's car. I spoke to my brother, who agreed to take us, but warned that he would not enter the cemetery and would only wait outside for 30 minutes. We should get back to the car in that time. When we arrived in front of the cemetery, it was really abandoned, but the atmosphere was totally dark and dense. Nobody wanted to get out of the car. So, my brother suggested that we go back to the city, but Sandra insisted that she would go down. I went down with Sandra and we had to convince Evie to come down too. My brother remembered once again that he would only be waiting for us for 30 minutes. We continued walking until the cemetery gate. I'm not going to lie, at that moment I was already scared. Evie insisted that it was nonsense, that things like that didn't exist and that we weren't in a movie. Sandra suggested that we go to the middle of the cemetery. We only had 2 flashlights, so we all stayed together. The atmosphere, for some reason, started to get heavier, and no one wanted to talk anymore. I think we were all scared, but none of us wanted to admit it. Evie started saying that we had already gone to the middle of the cemetery and nothing had happened, that we should go back, as nothing would happen. I agreed with her and told Sandra that it was all just an urban legend and that we wouldn't see anything scary. Sandra finally accepted that it was just an urban legend and we decided to get out of there. However, 2 homeless people appeared and started saying that it was their lucky day, having found 3 women alone. We tried to run away, but one of them managed to grab Evie's arm. I started screaming for help so my brother could hear us and come help us. Sandra began picking up objects from the floor and throwing them at the men. Evie was screaming, but luckily my brother came running up with a baseball bat and started asking what the men were doing, saying we were just girls. Finally, they released Evie and ran away. My brother told us to run to the car immediately. After that, he sternly warned us never to do this again, nor to go to abandoned places, as they could be very dangerous. Evie was still crying, and he promised he would notify the police in that city. The men were never found, but I wonder what would have happened to us if my brother hadn't been around. I don't even like to imagine.